Hey everybody, hope everyone's had a good weekend, that everyone has just had enough time to relax, unwind, and just do you. So today we're going to be going over Lesson 5, which is about foreshadowing, and we're also going to be reading the second section to Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl. So let's get started. So the objective for today is that students will be able to analyze elements of foreshadowing in a fiction short story. This is short and sweet, not much besides looking for foreshadowing. So what is foreshadowing? Foreshadowing is a literary device authors use to hint toward future events in the story. And this is something I got from study.com, but in my words, it just means to predict what will happen in a story based on clues that appear before a certain event. This is what helps build suspense, plot development, and nuance, which is tone shift in a story. So I listed a few examples down here. Two of them I got from the internet, the third one I made myself. So the first one is that the evening was still. Suddenly, a cool breeze started blowing and made a windy night. So this right here would foreshadow, of course, or predict a sort of thunderstorm coming on. The second one, the morning on her way to work, Mary Ann took a gun from a cabinet in the garage, loaded it, and thrust it into her coat hat pocket. And of course, this would foreshadow harm. Number 3. As they enjoyed each other's company under the sunset, Jack's heart was racing as fast as he reached for the small black box inside of his pocket. And I made this one a little obvious, that way you can foreshadow or predict, a sort of marriage proposal. Alright, so let's read Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl, second section. It was extraordinary now how clear her mind became all of a sudden. She began thinking very fast. As the wife of a detective, she knew quite well what the penalty would be. That was fine. It made no difference to her. In fact, it would be a relief. On the other hand, what about the child? What were the laws about murders with unborn children? Did they kill them both, mother and child? Or did they wait until the 10th month? What did they do? Mary Maloney didn't know. She certainly wasn't prepared to take a chance. She carried the meat into the kitchen, placed it in a pan, turned the oven on high, and shoved it inside. Then she washed her hands and ran upstairs to the bedroom. She sat down before the mirror, tidied her hair, touched her lips and face. She tried to smile. It came out rather peculiar. She tried again. "Hello, Sam," she said brightly aloud. The voice sounded peculiar too. "I want some potatoes, please, Sam." "Yes, and I think a can of peas." That was better. Both the smile and the voice were coming out better now. She rehearsed it 7 times more. She ran downstairs, took her coat, went out the back door, down the garden, into the street. It wasn't 6 o'clock yet, and the lights were still on in the grocery shop. "Hello, Sam," she said brightly, smiling at the man behind the counter. "Why, good evening, Miss Maloney. How are you?" "I want some potatoes, please, Sam." "Yes, and I think a can of peas." The man turned around and reached up behind him on the shelf for the peas. "Patrick's decided he's tired and he doesn't want to eat out tonight," she told him. "We usually go out Thursdays, and now he's caught me without any vegetables in the house." "Then how about meat, Miss Maloney?" "No, I've got meat, thanks. I got a nice leg of lamb in the freezer." "Oh. I don't much like cooking it frozen, Sam, but I'm taking a chance on it this time. You think it'll be all right?" "Personally," the grocer said, "I don't believe it makes any difference. You want these Idaho potatoes?" "Oh yes, that'll be fine. 2 of those." "Anything else?" The grocer cocked his head on one side, looking at her pleasantly. "How about afterwards? What are you going to give him afterwards?" "Well, what would you suggest, Sam?" The man glanced around the shop. "How about a nice big slice of cheesecake? I know he likes that." "Perfect," she said. "He loves it." And when it was all wrapped up and she had paid, she put on her brightest smile and said, "Thank you, Sam. Good night." "Good night, Miss Maloney, and thank you." Okay, so now that we've read the story, we're going to be going over a text-dependent question, which is basically a question that's that you find the answer to by looking over the text and finding evidence there. So our TDQ for the day is, what does the author say in the story that could possibly provide us with clues to how Mary Maloney plans to get away with the murder of her husband Patrick? In other words, what piece of text evidence can grant us to say, this foreshadows the false testimony of Patrick Maloney? And so first, of course, we're going to be looking for the text evidence, and I've already got one right here. Based on what I've got from the text, I said a text evidence that I got was, what were the laws about murders with unborn children? Did they kill them both, mother and child, or did they wait until the 10th month? What did they do? Mary Maloney didn't know, and she certainly wasn't prepared to take a chance. She carried the meat into the kitchen, placed it in a pan, turned the oven on high, and shoved it inside. So based on this text evidence, this was the first instance that foreshadows or predicts Mary's testimonial lies and cover-ups in order to avoid the death penalty for the murder of her husband. So of course we have our TDQ statement, which of course doesn't have to be any more than 2 sentences, and of course we need our claim, well not our claim, our text evidence, and we also need a little emphasis from our text evidence. So what I wrote down was, in part 2 of Lamb to the Slaughter, the author made Mary's intentions known when she questioned the death penalty for pregnant woman, and then carried the meat into the kitchen, placed it in a pan, turned the oven on high, and shoved it inside. The fact that Mary cooks up the same piece of lamb that she used to kill Patrick lets us know that she's planning to hide the evidence that would lead to the police finding out that the cause of her husband's death was by her own hands. Yeah, so let's break it down a bit. So first we have our evidence, and we also have the second sentence basically concludes what we said based on the evidence we were given. And the first part is just kind of a sort of claim that dives into the evidence itself.